Before you go to your favorite movie theater to watch a bear high on cocaine, what if I told you you could watch a movie right now about zoo animals on the loose in the big city, jacked up on PCP? Is your curiosity aroused? Hey, what's up everyone? Paul from Grindhouse Funhouse. So when I saw the trailer for the movie Cocaine Bear, which is inspired by a true story from the mid-80s of a bear ingesting a duffel bag full of cocaine that dropped from the sky when the drug smuggler had too heavy of a drug load in his plane, I thought to myself, man, I want this to be good. It seems cheesy yet self-aware enough in its black comedy that this could be a new classic in the making. I mean, the fact that you have a scene in the trailer where the bear does a line of coke off a severed leg, it lets me know they know what they're doing. What it also made me think of was all the when animals attack / when nature runs amok movies from the 70s and 80s. It's pretty much its own genre. Movies like Grizzly, Day of the Animals, or Prophecy, just to name a few. But there's one movie that immediately came to mind when I first saw the Cocaine Bear trailer, and it's Wild Beast, a 1984 Italian exploitation horror movie written and directed by Franco E. Prosperi. So it made me want to rewatch it again, and after this new viewing, my feeling is that Cocaine Bear probably got nothing on this crazy-ass 80s Italian movie where pretty much anything goes. It starts up with a title card that let us know that it all goes down in a northern European city, which 30 seconds later we see a Frankfurt Zoo sign, but the whole movie was filmed in South Africa and Italy. We get a shot of drinking water flowing through a plant just so that it's clear where the location of the problem starts in, and also letting us know the city is pretty trash with a shot of drug needles just all over the place. We meet our protagonist, an Italian John Oates lookalike, veterinarian Rupert Berner, played by John Aldrich, aka Antonio Di Leo. He and his sweet mustache was not an actor by trade, he was an animal wrangler in real life. And obviously that is why he got the role and hasn't done anything acting-wise since. There's his lady friend, a reporter played by Lorraine Desselle, and her weird daughter Susie, played by Louisa Lloyd, being a passive-aggressive little shit towards her, who leaves messages on an answering machine while the play button is pressed. And we have Hugo Bologna playing the police inspector on the case, helping out our hirsute vet. The first sign of animals really acting up is a bunch of rats on the street, about 3,000 of them, so I learned, going nuts, screeching in unison, attacking a poor defenseless cat, and incidentally a young couple getting in on the car where she gets eaten twice, but the last time, I'm guessing, was not as fun. And by the way, Italians back in those days were not shy about mistreating, killing animals on films, even though most of the time they would say no animals were hurt during the production of this movie. It's pretty clear, if you have eyes, that some animals did not get the gentle treatment, so fair warning on that. We're going back to the zoo and we learned that it's a new computer security system running the entire premises. And of course it goes haywire, blinking Christmas lights let us know that something is afoot. And sure enough, there's a malfunction where all the cage doors opens up and the wildlife breaks free. And this is where the rampage starts, with 3 elephants just busting through a brick wall, Kool-Aid Man style, escaping with all their animal friends from the zoo. Many zoo employees becomes lunch meat, just big furry cats fighting over human remains. It's the first big animals on humans attack scene we witness, which I know they had handlers on the set coordinating things, but some of it looks so real, like things might have gotten out of hands on some of those shots. It made me think of the movie Roar. If you haven't seen that, it's another one-of-a-kind movie about wild animals to be seen, and I might reserve that one for a future review. We're back to that weird little girl Susie and her hand puppet, establishing that she's at her dance school, which becomes a plot point later on in the movie. This is the scene where we see the blatant animal cruelty happening when they barbecue some rats. We see them running around engulfed in flames. See, that's the kind of shit they wouldn't dare doing today, and for obviously good reasons. Instead, we get somewhat photorealistic CGI animals, like in Cocaine Bear, which even in 2023, they haven't quite perfected it yet, but you know better than having an actual bear so close to your face you can actually smell what he had for lunch. Oh yeah, and there's this weird blonde guy we see at the beginning of the movie, who hangs out at the zoo recording animal sounds for a music symphony, some nonsense like that. And I'm talking about him because he's the next victim on the list. We see him chilling at home with his doggy, while listening to those animal sounds he recorded, and he can't hear his dog going apeshit and finally eating him up. Alright, so from there we go to many setups in different locations where jacked up animals shows up. Those elephants that busted through the zoo's brick wall shows up on a road where two people get trapped by them, and there's a murder by elephant paw scene that is pretty creative and that I've never seen before. So kudos on that, wild beast. There's the cheetah sequence where we see a cheetah casually walking the streets, which is pretty unnerving seeing a thing like that, especially when he starts running after this girl in her crappy car, almost catching up to her in full cheetah speed.
Hey, look at that! She's not crazy! She's being chased by a cheetah!
And ends up in a fiery crash with an old dude we see getting ejected out of his car. We see those elephants again, this time walking on an airport runway, which causes not only a tiny model plane to explode, but takes down the entire city's electrical grid. A tiger breaks into a subway tunnel and onto a subway car, which, funny story about that scene is that the tiger actually got away in the subway system on that night, and Rome was at a standstill that next morning until the animal wranglers captured it, and then they were able to start up the trains again. We get a scene of a polar bear, yes, a polar bear, showing up at the little girl's dance school. How the hell it ended up there, it's anybody's guess. It's the movie's little cocaine bear moment. Then there's a scene of a hyena breaking into a slaughterhouse, so we get real scenes of pigs, cows, and horses being chewed on, which is pretty gnarly. And then the movie finally let us know the cause of all this with only 10 minutes to spare, that it is in fact PCP.
They call it angel dust. Peace powder, zombie dust.
Also jet fuel and busy bee.
That was laced into the water supply, but they have no idea who did this and for what reason, and that the animals are already coming down from the effects, so it doesn't really matter. It ends with a scene at the dance school with the kids still locked in a room stuck full of stuffed animals for some reason. What a coincidence. With an ending where you would think, being an early 80s Italian exploitation horror movie, they would have pushed it to the limit, but they chicken out and ends it with a text scroll telegram style. It's as if they didn't know how to end the movie or have the balls to go through what they had just set up. That was a bit of a disappointment. So would I recommend Wild Beasts? I would, only in that it's the kind of movie that would never be done today and is of its time. If you want to see how creative they got with all the animal attack scenes, that sweet Italian gore which has some in it, but it's not all about it. The acting is fine for what this is. The English dubbing is terrible, as it should be. I can see hints of trying to be a message movie, but fails miserably at it. You know about the ills of technology, drug problems, and all that. Forget all that. It's a movie about wild beasts having humans for dinner. That is what you're getting here. The tone remains constant. The locations are nice. Lots of night shoots for atmosphere, but also to hide things out a bit more. Lots of quick cuts during those attack scenes, though you get the gist of what's happening. This is a tight 90-minute movie. When they try to fill time talking about nonsense, it drags a bit, but then you see an elephant squish the head of a blonde lady and you're right back in it. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just a movie from a bygone era where they got away with way more shit than filmmakers could today. So yeah, this would make a fine double bill with Cocaine Bear. Seven Films released a Blu-ray back in 2017, which is still easily available and has special features like interviews with the director, Franco Prosperi, and actor Tony DiLeo talking about their experiences on the movie. As for streaming, all the big streaming services have it in their libraries, but you can also see it for free right here. I'll put those links in the description below. So that was my review for Wild Beasts. Go visit all my socials at Grindhouse Funhouse. More movie reviews of grindhouse, exploitation, and Italian movies of that era coming up soon, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I'll say to you, ciao bye for now.
I'm coming, you ball buster!